Just tell me when.
We are now recording.
Okay, I'm going to just start this. Pursuant to recently adopted amendments to the Illinois Open Meetings Act included in Public Act 101-0640, public bodies may in certain circumstances hold entirely virtual public meetings without a quorum physically present in any one location. Governor Pritzker's Executive Order 2021-27 has extended this provision through November 13, 2021. As village president, I've made the determination that it is not practical nor prudent to meet in person at this time. Accordingly, this meeting of the Community Grants Committee is being conducted virtually with members of the board and staff participating through the Zoom webinar platform. Assistant to the village manager, Jordan Lester, is in the Village Hall conference room in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. So I'll call the meeting to order and request a roll call. Jordan.
Yes, President Rowan.
Here.
Trustee Vree. Oh, I'll ask Trustee V and then I went out of order. And then Trustee Rubin.
Yes, here.
We have a quorum.
Thanks. As noted, today's board meeting is being conducted as a virtual meeting via Zoom webinar software. A quorum of members of the Community Grants Committee are present via remote access. As required by law, I'll ask for roll call rather than voice votes on any agenda item requiring a vote. Second item on the agenda is public comment. In accordance with the supplemental rule the board approved on April 16th, 2020, here's how public comment will be taken at this meeting. The email address and telephone number designated for public comment for this meeting were published with the meeting agenda. And at this time, I'll ask Jordan Lester to read the public comments received on non-agenda items that were submitted prior to the meeting. If there are any public comments on agenda items, if any, will be read when we reach that item on the agenda. Jordan, did we have any comments?
We did not receive any tonight, no.
Thanks very much. If a member of the public would like to submit a public comment during the meeting, please email your comment to glencoe@villageofglencoe.org. Comments submitted during the meeting may be read at the end of the meeting. Written comments should be limited to 400 words. The third item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes, which I think were circulated. They're the minutes from the November 5, 2020 Committee Grants Committee meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, let's have
Perfect
a roll
timing.
call.
All right, President Rowan.
Well, I wasn't there, but
Okay, you can certainly
you know,
choose to abstain if you'd like.
so I think since we have the two other votes, I will abstain.
Okay, abstention. All right, Trustee Rubin.
Yes.
And then Trustee Vree.
Yes.
All right, so that motion carries and they're approved.
Thank you. The fourth item on the agenda is presentations by calendar year 2022 community grant applicants. And we have a list of 6 applicants who are going to take, I think, 25 minutes or so. Well, no, some get longer, some get shorter, but they have allotted times. And what I'll ask Assistant to the Village Manager, Jordan Lester, to do is to allow applicants into the Zoom meeting pursuant to the meeting agenda. And then Jordan will introduce the applicants and we'll listen. And I just want to announce that I'm going to be in transit for a point, but I will be able to listen while I'm in transit, and then I'll get back on my computer at home. I'm not at home right now. So it's 6:06. In order to keep time, we should probably get on with our first applicant, Family Service at Glencoe.
Yes, President Rowan and trustees, give me one moment. I will be promoting Bill Hansen and Stacy Ellington from Family Service. In just a second, Bill and Stacy, you should be able to share your video and your audio. Give me one second. All right, welcome Bill and Stacy.
Good evening. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Shall we just begin, Jordan? Okay, well.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you again, and we're delighted to be here to share with you this part of the story of Family Service of Glencoe. And also, I guess we'd like to just start by, well, I'd like to start by introducing Stacy to the group. Stacy's our manager of fundraising and communications. She started with us in February, so she's a little bit newer to the team than and has been, and is someone you haven't yet met. So I just want to welcome Stacy, and also it's a pleasure to meet you, at least virtually, President Rowan. This is my first time presenting with you as village president, so glad to meet you.
It's my pleasure to meet you, and I congratulate you on the excellent work that your organization has done for the village forever.
Well, it seems like forever, and it's a little bit, the organization's a little bit older than me, at 107 years and going strong. So and I just would like to say on that note that it's been an incredible foundation laid over the century plus that Family Service of Glencoe has been in existence. So I'd just like to, if I may, share my screen. I'd just like to start with just a little bit about what happened last year, because this is the we did receive a grant from the village last year, and we're extremely grateful. It was a very difficult year in many ways, but we did receive a generous grant from the village, and we're so grateful for that support. And we want to share with you a little bit about how that helped us to actually help the residents of Glencoe in some ways that we've been helping for a long time, and also in some new ways. It was a very difficult year for a lot of reasons, as I said, not least of which was the way it was difficult for everyone, adapting to our new reality with living through a pandemic, a coronavirus pandemic. That Family Service of Glencoe has been opening doors to care in our community for 107 years. And I think that one of the things that we would highlight in all this is the fact that we are here for all of Glencoe. We are here for all those who live or work in Glencoe, and without regard for anyone's ability to pay for mental health counseling services. And I think the other things that make us unique in that regard are the fact that people come into the organization through many different doors. People come in simply by calling us for help when they know they need mental health services. They also come in through the door of public safety, which is our crisis response work in partnership with Glencoe Public Safety. And they might also come in through outreach and education opportunities that we implement with village partners. And that may be parent discussion groups, it might be senior discussion groups, it might be a talk that we gave in partnership with another organization. So there's a lot of different doors that people enter into services. So these are just a few of the things that that happened last year that I want to highlight because they're noteworthy. So far from reducing services or closing down during the pandemic, we actually we just, as everyone did, we adapted. We adapted to a telehealth model immediately. So this preceded FY21, in fact, and we just continued that through the entire fiscal year. Converted to a telehealth model where we served about the same number of families and individuals that we had been serving for the last several years. The 217 persons served in our clinical services or in counseling, individual consultations, casework services, things like that. And then the 2,908 units of service are basically, they represent hours of service that were provided to those 217 persons served. At the same time, the public safety work that we did last year, the 68 crisis calls and referrals, that was actually a big jump from the year before, and which was already a big jump from the year before that. So we've actually experienced about a 230% increase in crisis calls and referrals over the last 2 years. But more than anything last year, the kind of calls that we were getting were really, I think, reflective of the times that families were struggling through. With the pandemic came a lot of personal stress. Families that were together all day long, where they hadn't been before, where kids had been in school, where parents were off working or traveling, that wasn't happening. And so there were just a lot of things that I think were responsible for more domestic disturbance kind of calls that we were receiving last year from public safety. And then I would just say, going into this year, our year started July 1st, our fiscal year. Going into the first quarter, we've seen a 40% increase in demand for counseling sessions in this fiscal year, which is FY22 for us.
I would like to add that what I think separates us from other communities is that we will help anybody in Glencoe, whether you're a resident or whether you work here. And when you think about the employees who work at Walgreens, the employees who work at Starbucks, the waiters who work at Guildhall, they still need mental health services. And we're very unique in the fact that we will provide it to anybody regardless of cost. And I think that's a big focus on why we are trying to fundraise so much, the fact that we can help every individual in Glencoe.
Exactly. Yes, thank you, Stacy. And for our older adult community, we also expanded some things. We immediately started doing more senior discussion groups. That's a group that's been going now for several years. And one of the things that we know older adults are at higher risk for is increased isolation and depression. And that often can occur when people are living alone, or when they're not able to get out very much. And so what we started to do, we did increase the number of senior discussion groups available to the people that were coming to those. Our case management services were a lot more what I would term well-being kind of services. So calls to our seniors who we know are living alone, calls to check on how they're doing, visits to them that we could do safely. I will say that there were a few programs that we could not safely do last year. The intergenerational programs in particular, because the kids weren't in school, and we couldn't put our seniors at greater risk anyway. So we could not do those programs, but what we could do virtually, we did do. And our senior housing recipients continue to receive quite a bit of casework services as well, what we term wraparound supportive services. So they get a small grant from us to help them stay and age in place in their homes in Glencoe, where they've lived for decades, literally. And then the wraparound services are things that they might need outside of that grant money, which is referrals to other organizations. We have great partnerships in this regard too, with New Trier Township, as we'll see later with Glencoe Community Garden, a new partner this year, with the Boy Scouts, the local Boy Scout troop that provides meals at holidays and other things like that. What's the committee called? The group in Glencoe that does the holiday drive. Sorry, the Glencoe holiday drive. You know, we're sort of because we know and we have the confidential capability of delivering services to low-income families, and in this case, seniors. We're able to broker, I guess I would say, quite a few of the donations that come in, and we're able to get them to the families in need because we know who they are, and we keep that information quite confidentially. So that's one of the ways that we're able to help. And opening doors to memory care, we've expanded our offerings in this area as well. Family care planning. So when a family is concerned about a loved one who is exhibiting issues with memory, cognitive impairment, or memory issues, they can call us and they can request a consultation. So this was a new service last year. We started it. We served five families last year, but that number is expanding this year, even as we speak. Memory cafe. This was our first attempt at a memory cafe, and unfortunately, we couldn't do that in person either. We're hoping to, when we continue that this year, we're hoping to start it in person after the new year, but a lot will depend on the public health situation. And if we have to go back to virtual to start with, we will. But this was an important addition to our service arena last year, and then dementia consultations. So the consultations are basically for when someone is concerned about a loved one, they can call and have a consult with Emily over the phone or come in person to do that. The family care planning differentiates from that in that the family care planning is actually a much more extensive service that Emily will then provide. It might be an extension of a consultation, but it's like it's a very comprehensive plan to help a family navigate the new reality that their loved one is dealing with. And I guess I want to emphasize here partnerships. The vaccine clinics that we participated in and helped with, that was probably the COVID vaccine clinics. We're probably done with them now. As I talk with the other village leaders around this issue, we're probably not going to see any more clinics on this, but we did just partner again with the village on a flu clinic, and appreciate President Rowan you stopping by and providing support through your presence there. And also
couldn't even feel the shot.
Somehow or another, I meant to come down and get my own shot, but I didn't. I got busy and the day got away from me. So anyway, we're really thrilled to have just incredible community partners. The produce deliveries were a result of a collaboration with Glencoe Community Garden, and we're actually now, while they're out of season for the next several months, we're picking up with the Produce Alliance now to continue that effort. So again, partnerships are a key to our ability to serve this community. I would like to just stop here for a moment, and because I can talk till I'm blue in the face about the great qualities of family service at Glencoe and what we do, but I'd like you to really, if it's okay, I'd like to play a short video that is actually one of a former client of family service at Glencoe. Would that be all right, Jordan?
You sure can. Just as a reminder, if you're sharing sound, when you hit the share content button, Bill, you're going to want to hit the share sound one too.
Yes, I practiced that.
I
Actually.
learned that the hard way. I just
Thank
wanted
you
to make sure.
Thank you for the reminder.
Of course.
You helped me remember that. So let me just find this. Yikes.
It might be at the bottom of your screen if you're on a laptop or a computer, or the top if you're on a, there you go.
Okay, I thought I had done this already, but maybe I lost it. So
We can hear it.
can you hear it okay?
Mhm.
All right.
The videos you just saw are of my beautiful family. From an outsider's perspective, we had it all. What nobody saw is that my husband Jonathan suffered from bipolar disorder. For many years, we didn't have the societal awareness to understand what Jonathan was experiencing. Deep shame and stigma enabled the most alarming symptoms to be hidden. Jonathan lived a high-functioning and successful life with insomnia, depression, anxiety, and mood swings hiding in plain sight. I knew things were getting increasingly more alarming when my once naturally energetic and social husband started having anxiety attacks at the suggestion of having dinner with his very oldest and best friends, or when his answer to the normal marriage question of, "How did you sleep?" was met with, "Not at all," for days on end. When we don't talk about mental illness and mental health challenges, there's no...
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Not at all, for days on end. When we don't talk about mental illness and mental health challenges, there's no model for those suffering and for their loved ones to easily recognize the need for help. When there is no community with active role models of those successfully managing mental illness, the stigmas and shame only persist. Generally speaking, the thing about serious mental illness is that it gets worse if left untreated. Everything came to a head for my family in February 2019 when Jonathan had a manic episode, was hospitalized, and ultimately diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Over the course of the next 5 months, with each other and mental health professionals, we worked so diligently to learn about Jonathan's disorder and best practices for treatment. I will never forget frantically calling FSG on my way home from my first visit with Jonathan in the psychiatric unit, completely overwhelmed and terrified, asking for help with what to tell my 3 young children. FSG's clinicians talked me through strategies and provided such an amazing lifeline of support. The copy of The Bipolar Bears, a children's book explaining Jonathan's condition in the most simple terms, still sits on my son's bookshelf today. In early July of 2019, after several medication changes, Jonathan was beginning to feel strong and mentally stable, but with complaints of being unable to catch his breath. On July 19th, 2019, Jonathan died from a massive pulmonary embolism that caused cardiac arrest. It all happened too fast, and to say it was unexpected is a massive understatement. Immediately after Jonathan died, all of my energy was spent trying to survive each moment, to breathing in and out, to putting one foot in front of the other. The reality that I had just lost half of my household income and that my health insurance didn't cover mental health services hit hard. I was emotionally paralyzed by grief, worried about my children and their well-being, and did not know how I would handle financially supporting their new mental health needs, among everything else in my new upside-down world. It's easy to look around the North Shore and only see the privileged aplenty. It's easy to forget that sometimes everyone needs a hand. Without hesitation, FSG stepped up and worked with the boys immediately in a way that didn't add any financial burden or compounding stress. It was the most crucial lifeline that we needed at the time. To be honest, I'm not sure how I would have gotten through all of this without FSG and the people of Glencoe. It's now been almost 2 years since Jonathan's death, and the Glencoe community continues to amaze me, especially after this most challenging year. People still ask me a lot of questions, and how are the boys is generally at the top. Much of the work that we've done relates to language development to better help them express their feelings. Many of the most genuinely happy moments these days come from the talks that the boys and I are now able to have because of this work. It's such a joy for me to see how far they've come both socially and emotionally. We still take things day by day, but I see such improvements with their coping strategies and ability to communicate their feelings in a more constructive manner. We've become a very strong team, the four of us. I think we're doing just fine. It's the little wins, I tell myself. I've come to peace with the fact that there will never be a silver lining or reason for my family's pain and loss, because sometimes there just isn't one. What I can do to keep Jonathan's legacy and spirit alive is to tell his story, to tell our story about living with mental illness. Without the support of Family Service of Glencoe and this community as a whole, I don't know how I would have braved this storm. We're all better, stronger, and more courageous when we have the support of those who lift us up. Together, we must work to expand our community understanding and access to help for those struggling with mental illness. We must tell our stories and provide active role models to chip away at the stigma surrounding mental illness in ways that cripple people and families. We must support incredible organizations like FSG and make it a point to lend a hand, lift someone up, or proactively help if you see someone struggling with mental illness. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure I can really say anything after that. I think one of the main points that I would say is to repeat something that Megan said. Sometimes we assume because we're in Glencoe that everyone has the means to just pay for the mental health services that we have here, and that they're just willing to step up and ask for help when they need it. But none of that is true. There are many, many families, at least half of our clients need sliding fee scale support. And situations like Megan found herself in are just one of the many different kind of scenarios we encounter. So I just want to say thank you again, because the grant money that the village provides to us directly helps us to serve all those who live or work in Glencoe, regardless of ability to pay. And that's all I've got for our presentation tonight. Thank you for listening. Happy to entertain questions in our 4 minutes remaining.
Well, I just want to say thanks for what you do. Thank you for the presentation. The moving video, you get a gold star for having a picture of one of your meetings with seniors that had my wife in it, because she volunteers.
I didn't even know that was your wife. I'm sorry.
She's the block. Well, I was going to give you credit for excellent advanced work.
I would not have even used that picture had I known, because I don't want that to be looked at.
I'm not holding it against you. Anyway, thank you for all of it.
Yeah, agreed. I guess, Bill, the only question we would have, and it's sort of one that we probably asked every year, but are there ways that you see, where we can help potentially beyond just grants? And I mean, the partnership has always been a very good one, but we're always interested in hearing ways that you guys think we might be able to help.
Well, what I would say to anyone who asks that question is just be a good advocate for mental health services, and because what our main goal is to share the message of not only the need for quality, affordable, and accessible mental health services, but the to help reduce stigma and to help people to realize it's okay to ask for help. We're hearing a lot of the new phrase, it's okay to not be okay. It is, and we need to continually, among family, friends, neighbors, loved ones, we need to just continually reinforce that. I would ask everyone that asks that question, thank you for that, to respond in that way. I would say the same thing to anyone who asked. That's how we can all be advocates for mental health services and ambassadors for FSG.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for taking the time.
It's our pleasure. This is one of the few kind of grant presentations that I actually look forward to. I think that says something about all of you.
But so I'm the new kid on the block. Before you go, let me just also say that the village, I think, works closely with Emily Mizell, and she's terrific. So I want to pass that along.
Thank you. We agree.
Mhm.
Thank you for all your organization does for everybody in our village.
I guess that
Really
might be-
important.
Appreciate those kind words. And unfortunately, I think that after we got promoted, we're about to get demoted, right, Jordan?
Well, I would not take it that way. I will say we have a little bit of buffer time. We just in case things run over. So if there are any more questions or anything else you want to share, you have a little bit of time. If not, I will demote you. Only in terms of the Zoom, not in our hearts.
I don't have anything else, so thanks.
Nor do I.
Thanks, Bill, Stacy. Excellent job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
both.
Thank you.
Right.
All of you
Thank you
Good night.
both.
taking the time.
All right, trustees and President Rowan, like I said, I'm going to move Stacy and Bill if they're going to be staying, or they can certainly leave to attendee role. And then we have a couple more minutes. Like I said, I added a little bit of buffer time in case we all
Okay,
need to
good.
get a
Yes.
drink of water or do anything else in between. But next we have Glencoe Historical Society at 6:40.
Okay. All right. Well, stand by for 5 minutes, and then we'll get to it.
Absolutely. And as a refresher, now might be a good time. We listened to all of the presentations this evening, and then for agenda item 5, that's when President Rowan, you and our trustees are able to discuss your recommendations to the village board. The full village board must approve all of the annual allocations as part of the budget approval process. But I will be taking this right to our finance department and Phil after the meeting. So they'll be aware of your recommendations this evening.
Okay. All right. See you in 4 minutes.
All right. See you then. Karen and Vanessa, I think I see you here in our attendee list. We had a little bit of an interim between our last meeting. So give me one moment to promote you folks to panelists. There we go. All right, so you should be wonderful. Hi, Karen, how are you?
We can't hear her. She's muted.
Yeah, Karen, you're muted. Let me see if I can hit the ask to unmute button. There we go.
No, I was just changing my name. Glencoe history.
Karen, is Vanessa going to be joining us tonight?
Yes, she will be.
All right, so I will keep my eyes on our attendee list. While we're waiting for Vanessa, this is Karen Edelson. Are you co-president? Is that your title now?
Yes.
Okay.
Vanessa and I share the responsibilities. Our responsibilities over the last few years have grown to the extent that we can actually use two people in that role as opposed to one. I'm very grateful that she has taken on that role. And for our organization, it's nice too, because Vanessa is kind of on the younger end of our board, and I have been on the board for quite a while. So we're also in a, kind of mentoring relationship too, so that as we progress, she will become more and more familiar with all of the many things that we do. And here she is.
Yeah, right as you were introducing her, Vanessa joined. So we'll give her a couple minutes or a couple seconds to get ready.
Sorry about that. Hi.
Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you.
All right, President Rowan and trustees, we're joined by Karen Edelson and Vanessa Zorb, our co-presidents for the Glencoe Historical Society. So Karen and Vanessa, whenever you're ready, you may start.
Well, I think that what we really wanted to do tonight was to talk a little bit about what we've been doing over the last year. I know every year we meet with you folks, and we are very, very grateful for the support that the village provides. And I don't know whether your funding pool for this next fiscal year is the same as last, but we have applied and hope that you'll provide the same level of funding to us that you did last year, so that we can continue to offer all the many programs that GHS is known for. And I think that the community really enjoys and likes. The pandemic, I'm sure you heard this over and over again tonight, but the pandemic has hit us all, and our museum was closed until 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, end of September. Had been closed for 18 months. Now, that didn't mean that we didn't do anything. We actually accomplished quite a bit during the closure. We updated some of our facilities around the garden. We put in a new shed. We did a lot of kind of internal things. We continue to try to do our fundraising, even though we couldn't have in-person events. So we did a couple of innovative little drive-through things that helped us to, weather the COVID storm. We also did a lot of research, and that's one of the things that I focused on in our application. In the coming year, we really are excited about the opportunity to change up our exhibit, probably not till the end of next year, because we want people to still see the sesquicentennial exhibit. And unfortunately, it closed before too many people had that opportunity. But the next exhibit is going to be about Glencoe's Black heritage. And I know this has been a very hot topic, both within the community and on the North Shore. And Glencoe is fortunate that we have a history, and we have a long history that many other communities around us didn't have. We have it because back in the late 1800s, the residents of Glencoe were welcoming, and it started in the late 1800s, a community that has grown and provided a very active level of participation in our community for over 137 years. We started this project well before the sesquicentennial. It got put on pause during the sesquicentennial because there were so many other things going on. But during COVID, we found ourselves able to kind of resume it because we could do a lot of the research online. And we also struck up a partnership with St. Paul AME to work with them to digitize their records and help preserve those records. I'm a little distressed about the fact that Pastor Gary has been transferred, but we're going to work with the new pastor, and we have a very strong relationship with the congregation there. Celebrated recently with them when they celebrated their historic landmark status, and we're looking forward to continuing that relationship. But that is just a small part of our overall Black heritage research. And so part of what our funding will be used for in the coming year is to mount that exhibit and to allow the community, both through visits to our museum and through our partnerships with the schools and other organizations, to learn more about that history. And we feel that that's a very important part of our mission this coming year, in addition to all the other things that we like to do. Vanessa may want to chime in here and talk a little bit about some of those other things.
Well, I think a big part of our push is to digitize our records, as well as different organizations we work with in the community. And that is a huge undertaking. It's going to take many, many man hours and a lot of training. We have an amazing piece of equipment that we recently got that will help us digitize a lot of the Black history, and as well as a lot of our records that we have in-house, because in order for the community to have access to those, it's easier when they're digitized. So that is a huge undertaking that we're going to be doing in the next couple of years. So it just adding on what Karen was saying. So it's a huge project. So any help we get from the village would be really greatly appreciated in doing those digitization projects.
We'd like to also have the opportunity to reach out, once we've got our own house in order, to reach out to other organizations and to share the equipment that we have. As Vanessa said, we were very fortunate to receive a memorial gift from the family of our late research director that enabled us to purchase a scanner that allows us to scan bound books without, taking them apart or anything. It's the kind of scanner that you would find at Northwestern or University of Chicago in their facilities, and it has really been a game changer for us. We also, just to give you a little idea about kind of what we're doing, we have 100 years of Glencoe News bound volumes, and we've started to digitize those. We are in the 1920s, almost through the 1920s. Once we digitize them, that makes them searchable, and that really increases our opportunity to share more of the history of the community with residents and organizations. The other thing we did just last Wednesday, we have, I don't know how we got them, but I know we've had them for a long time, village newsletters from starting in like 1948, going through like the 1970s. I'm assuming the village gave them to us a while back. We digitized just last Wednesday a group from 1948 through 1965. And they were weekly newsletters that went out to, I think, the Board of Trustees. We also have the village memos that went out to the community as a whole, and have started that process as well. So there's a lot of technical activity that's going on, but it's very exciting because it's going to allow us to better be able to answer questions of residents, and also ultimately to try to figure out how to allow access so that people can log on and search some of these materials themselves. So that's been a huge focus within the organization, in addition to doing things like the second grade visit, which unfortunately hasn't happened because of COVID. And hopefully by next May, we'll be able to resume that. We've just finished decorating the garden for Ghost of the Garden. And while this doesn't have a historic mission and really doesn't cost us much, it's one of our biggest events in terms of attracting people to the museum. For us, that's a big thing because they come, they know we're there, and then they come back to see more of the exhibits and what we can do with Glencoe history. So that's something that actually the winds yesterday kind of rearranged the garden a little, but we're going to have it up and ready by Friday in anticipation of a lot of visitors. What else are we doing? Oh, the Booth Cottage, if you haven't seen it lately, the exterior is pretty much finished. We just had a meeting this afternoon. We're talking about some proposals for some signage, which I'm sure you'll be hearing more about as they get finalized. But the exterior is done and it looks pretty spectacular. We've had a lot of people comment that it looks like it's always been there, which is a very nice compliment, I think, to the Park District, to us. And again, we thank the village for all of their support to preserve that important architectural artifact for the community.
Mhm.
What am I forgetting, Vanessa? There's a lot of stuff.
No, we do. Yeah, there's a lot of programs that we try to squeeze into each year, but the Booth Cottage now is obviously part of our umbrella, which obviously wasn't there before. So that's, again, another reason why just any help we can get is just invaluable, because now we're dealing with 3 structures instead of the 2. So although fundraising will be going on continually for the Booth Cottage, it just will help us plan accordingly, so that we can do all of the programs and stuff for the community that we always do. So
that actually reminds me, I think we put it in the grant. The one thing that Booth has done has really expanded our reach. And this past year, partly because of the Black history, we've been kind of combining with some of the other historical societies in the area who have reached out to us because they kind of don't have much. But also because of Booth, we've been able to reach out far beyond Glencoe with programs about the move of the cottage and how we preserved it. Glencoe has been given a lot of positive publicity, literally, and I'm not exaggerating. We did a program for the Conservancy and another program called Pechacucha, where we had participants from all over the world. These were mostly Frank Lloyd Wright fans, but there were people from Australia, there were people from Japan, there were people from Israel, there were people from Germany, in addition to people all over the United States, who were praising the community for the fact that we were able to accomplish something that a lot of people haven't been able to accomplish, and that was preserve this structure. And as a result of these programs, we did get contributions from people outside of Glencoe towards supporting our efforts. So all of this, we're constantly trying to, juggle and figure out where to best put our resources. But the addition of the cottage and of the work that we're doing really has opened up the work that we're doing to a much larger audience, in addition to just the Village of Glencoe. I don't know if people have questions or things you want to ask us.
I don't have a question. I want to thank both of you and your organizations for what you do. It isn't intuitive that Glencoe's history would be interesting or important, but you showed through your organization has showed through your efforts that it's both of those things. So, very, it wouldn't happen without you, and we're very grateful. And and reading your application, I get that you can't really look to, other parts of the world for help. It's terrific that you've been able to get some, but you mostly have to look here, and we get that, and we're here.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We continue to try. I mean, that's the other thing is we very much appreciate the help we get from you, and we're going to keep trying to see if we can find other resources. But right now, you folks, in addition to our gala and our annual appeal letter and our annual meeting, are kind of the guts of our operations. Luckily, we do have, and just so you know, we do have an endowment that helps support the buildings in the garden. We do not have an endowment yet for the Booth Cottage or for our operations. So that's what we focus on in our budgeting. And one of the other things that we want to do this year is, in the past, we've kind of gone year to year, and we are in the process now of expanding that and kind of budgeting out 2 and 3 years at a time, so that we can better understand, what our needs are going to be, and look to other sources. As I indicated, it's hard for us because we're all volunteer, and because foundations and particularly the state and federal grant opportunities, we don't really qualify for. They're looking for communities that are much more diverse and more economically challenged than Glencoe is. But it hasn't stopped us from continuing to try. And who knows, maybe one of these days we will be able to. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that we can do what we do for the community. So we appreciate the consideration, and let us know if you have other questions or we can provide other information.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we appreciate everything. I walk past Booth all the time now, and it looks great. And so we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for
And-
having us.
And we
Appreciate it.
we appreciate how you all worked with us and the Park District to accomplish Booth, the little role that the village played. But you guys were excellent partners. Thank you.
Well, I hope that can continue. We enjoy working with everybody, and the more we can do, the better off we're all going to be, we think.
All right, well, if there are no other questions from our village president and our trustees, Karen, Vanessa, thank you so much. It's nice to see you both virtually. And we just have a couple more minutes before our next presenter. So I'm going to change you folks to attendees, and I hope you both have a great night.
Okay, let us know if you need anything else from us.
Absolutely, we'll
Thank you.
do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we're starting to get some folks from Writers Theater. I'll just give us like a minute or two, take a breather, and then I'll let them come on in.
Terrific. Jordan, is this one 15 minutes? This is 15 minutes?
Yes. So the rest are 15 minutes with a 5-minute buffer. Family
Okay.
service, due to the amount of the request, we traditionally give them more time.
Right.
Would you like me to let our writers folks in?
Yeah. Yeah. I
All
think.
right. All right.
Everybody else okay?
I'm seeing
Yep.
some head nods. Okay,
Yep.
give me 1 second, please. All right, Sierra, I'm going to promote you to panelist. You should be able to share your screen and your sound. Hi, Sierra, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Jordan?
I am wonderful. Is it just you tonight, or are we going to have more folks coming on in?
We will have one other person joining us, our Director of Advancement,
Wonderful.
Carly Miguel.
Okay, perfect. I saw her name there briefly. I just want to make sure that I'm not advancing us if not everyone's here. Okay, I see Carly. Carly, I'm going to promote you to our panelists, and you should be able to share your video and your sound. 1 second.
Hello.
Hi there, Carly. We can see and hear you. Whenever you both are ready, why don't you introduce yourselves to our village president and our trustees?
Great. Hi, I'm Carly. I'm the Director of Institutional Advancement at Writers Theater. I've been with the company for about 9.5 years. It has been a little while since I've been able to join this meeting, so I'm really excited to be here, and it's great to see all of you.
Welcome.
Hi, and I'm Sierra Carlson. I'm our Manager of Institutional Giving, and I've had the pleasure of being with you this is my 3rd year at the Community Grants Committee meeting, so a seasoned professional.
Good to see you again.
Happy to be here. All right, well, I'm going to start off with our presentation today by telling you a little bit about this past year has been. Understandably, it's been a different year for the theater than the years past. We had an entire season without any in-person productions. All of our productions this year were done virtually, either through streaming performances or audio series. So we had our first Halloween audio series ever. We had our first film that we shot in LA. We also, as of recent, received our first Emmy nomination. So that's been a nice feather in our cap. Our One Man, A Christmas Carol was nominated for a Chicago Midwest Emmy in the category for Outstanding Achievement for Arts, Entertainment, Long-Form Content. So we're very happy about that. And that is something that could only have come out of this very strange year, and we probably wouldn't have been up for otherwise. So some positives, some negatives from this past year of entirely remote programming. We also, with our remote programming, were able to reach new sorts of patrons and audiences that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to engage with. So Writers Theater programming reached 34 US states and 6 countries this past year through our digital programming. And we were also able to digitally serve our commissioned artists through our literary development initiative and adapt our education programming to reach our Chicagoland students with arts integrated programming to help curtail the isolating effects of a digital and remote education, which we realized was a huge need for that sort of service target audiences, as these students sort of coped with what does it mean to be on a screen 24/7. Now, it was a difficult year for budgeting because the reopening date kept getting pushed further and further back as time went on, and we realized how long we'd have to stay closed to our audiences. So we had a unique multi-scenario financial plan that would adjust our expenses to meet updated cash flow projections. And that was a method of budgeting that was completely unique to the unpredictable producing environment. We are happy to say now we have a beautiful budget that was in your packet, and we are moving along into this period of recovery now. That was in part thanks to a lot of government support and relief through our federal, state, and local government agencies. And we could not be more thankful for their recognition of how important the arts are to our communities, particularly in a time of crisis. Now, While our financial goals were sort of disrupted this past year, we did meet one long-term goal, one major milestone, which is we paid off our building. That beautiful, beautiful building in Glencoe, it is ours officially. We paid it off, and now we're getting it ready to welcome audiences just in time for our 30th anniversary season. And that's where I'm going to let Carly take it off.
Yes, we are so excited to welcome people back. You've probably seen the banners around Glencoe. And as Sierra mentioned, we had sort of put together the foundation pieces this summer. Our board passed a budget, which is always a key piece in terms of planning. And then we launched our subscription plan. And we have subscribers that are eager to come back to the seats that they remember being in a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And we're starting to do some work around the building to get welcome audiences back. I don't know how often you walk past our building, but you may see some scaffolding. We're doing some outdoor and indoor maintenance, which will hopefully help all audiences when they come back, since it's been a little bit. We are also, in terms of gearing up and coming back, our staff is actually back hybrid. Sierra and I are both home this evening, but we are working 3 days a week in the office. Our box office is open daily. So we have patrons coming in to buy tickets if they have questions, want to know more about possible memberships if they're not quite ready to commit to the whole season. So we're there to answer questions all the time. And then one of the steps that we have taken as we move forward to get ready to have audiences in December is there are quite a few theaters in Chicago who are already starting performances. And as a collective, all the theaters, I think there's almost over 60 performing arts venues and theaters have decided to kind of group together to make a decision that we are going to require vaccination proof and we are going to require masks when coming into the space. That is something that we have, yes, thank you. There's lots of reasons, and we think that actually as a community, it's helping us be able to not have the conversations of like, oh, well, the Goodman Theater lets us take our masks off. Why can't we have our masks off and writers? So that has been a really great conversation, and we've worked really closely with all the other theaters to do that. So starting December 9th, we will have our first preview. Actually, I think we just came off of our very first board meeting of the season about an hour ago. And I believe first rehearsal starts in 12 days. So we are really, really getting excited to bring people back. So yeah, I think there's a handful of other events that I think Sierra's going to chat a little bit as we sort of start to test out bringing people back in. Right now, it's mostly having audiences come into the box office and purchase tickets, but I'm going to hand it back to Sierra so you can give some more specifics on the details coming.
Our building is also open now as a community resource. We've held multiple Village of Glencoe meetings at our space in the past month or so. And we've also been open for rentals. So we've had several events that are not necessarily Writers Theater events, but are being held at the Writers Theater that we've been able to help host and manage. So we are open not only as a theater now, but we are back as a venue and a resource for our community. So those are up and running, plenty of those. Our first donor event is going to be in November as well. We'll be welcoming donors back into the space, and it'll be our first time using our new ticket scanners. This is a little bit of a get excited to come back to Writers Theater. We have new technology now. Thanks to one of our grant partners, the Elizabeth Morse Charitable Trust, they awarded us a project grant to get ticket scanners. So no more manual ticket tearing at our doors. We are high tech. We are the 21st century. We'll be scanning your tickets. So we're very excited to get that project up and running as a kind of new present, a new toy for our audiences. We also have all of our Dishwasher Dreams programming getting ready. So Dishwasher Dreams is the first production of our 4-show season. In years past, we've had a 6-show season. We're coming back with a 4-show season this year, to sort of meet audiences where they are. Our 6-show season would have begun in August. Audiences weren't ready to come back in August. Ours is going to start in December. Hopefully we'll have more audiences already gesturing that they should be feeling more comfortable. That gives us a little more wiggle room in terms of prepping our audiences to be in a space together for live theater, but it also gives us a little more time to ramp up our capacity to make sure that we're meeting our audiences with the most safe and well-organized programming possible. So that is Dishwasher Dreams. The first show is a one-man show. It is a comedian stand-up routine but it's also very theatrical. It has a tableau performance, and I'm not going to sell it to you right now. I'll let our box office and marketing team do that later. But we are very excited to have them in our space for first rehearsal November 7th, first preview December 19th, and then our opening night on December 17th. So all of these calendar events that we have coming up at our space, we're also starting to reach back out to our Glencoe business partners and their roles in these events. We work with a lot of Glencoe businesses for our rentals. The flower shop is one of the vendors we work with a lot. We're also reaching out to Guildhall for a giveaway we'll be doing later with our Giving Tuesday event. And so we're really excited about sort of what this opening night and having audiences back in the theater means for our relationships with other Glencoe business partners and sort of getting those up and running again.
Great. So there's only about 2 more things I wanted to highlight and wanted to make sure we allow you all some questions if you have things that is on your mind that you want to ask us. A couple quick things. One, I just wanted to share that we are going through what I think all businesses are going through right now, and that is hiring. We have had some shifts in some of our team members, and so we too are looking to bring on new people. Thankfully, we recently, I think, hired all of our positions in our production team. That was one of the departments that we did need to furlough during the pandemic. And unfortunately, not everybody was able to come back because they had jobs, they had gotten other jobs. And so, but we have been able to fill all that. We are just about ready to finalize a new director of marketing. We have some jobs posted for a director of education. And then we're obviously going through some leadership transition. We have an interim artistic director at the moment. And Bobby's been with us for 14 years, I think, maybe 15. Yeah, he's been with the organization for a really long time. So things have felt relatively seamless. And the board, as they talked about this evening, is starting the process of a national search, finding a search organization to then help us with a search for a new artistic director. So those are all the things happening internally. As I mentioned, we have people that are buying tickets, subscribers are coming back, but as you might imagine, it's not coming back quite in the same level as it has in previous years. There are people who are still a little nervous. There are people who have actually moved away from Glencoe. And there are some people that are just kind of waiting to see. So we are hoping that this is a ramp up. And as we start to open and bring people in, that they're going to get more excited. But we know we have a pretty long road for recovering. And we're just hoping that once we're able to do the thing that we were made to do, which is live theater, that people will start coming back. So can I open it up for questions? Does anyone have anything they want to ask us? I know, again, we don't have a ton of time.
So I would have asked what you were doing about COVID, but you answered that in advance, and what you're doing is appropriate, correct. We're glad you're doing it. We're glad you're taking the lead. Let me just say, Glencoe is so lucky to have you in our little village.
Thank you.
I grew up in Glencoe. We had a movie theater that showed, movies. It was perfectly lovely, but it showed, third time, they'd get stuff till it was not first run. And now to have this world-class theater is, unbelievable. We know not only do you do a great job, but you also have been a catalyst for the development of the business district. So we're here to help. We want to hear from you about what we can do to make this partnership work better. And we're all in. I was thrilled to be on the zoning board when we approved the special use permit for your building. It has worked out better than we could have hoped. And we know you're in a difficult time. We're here to help.
Thank you. That means so much. And yes, we have all been, I think all of us staff members who don't live in Glencoe have been missing Glencoe in the last 2 years. So we are thrilled to be back. We have a lot of productions next year that are actually going to be working with artists throughout the country, and we're putting Glencoe on the map in their minds. We have a director coming in from New York, and we're going to be actually doing a co-production with Hartford Stage. So we are very excited to also be showing off this amazing village to a lot of artists throughout the country.
And let me just say that as someone that attended Howard, a recent event sponsored by the Council for Inclusion and Community. We appreciate very much the partnership that Writers Theater has been to the council and to the village and to other organizations that you make yourself open and available for. It's really quite a public service, and thank you.
Absolutely. That has been a strange blessing of not that we don't want to not be doing our shows, but as we've been able to open up and have people use the building more frequently with rentals and meetings and all of that as well, it's been something we've been really, really grateful for.
I should say last week I was in a meeting sponsored by Senator Morrison of all the presidents and mayors around, and it's generous of you to provide it. Everything about your theater we view as a positive resource. We're here to help.
Thank you so much.
Do we have any time? I just have a quick question, actually.
Yeah, we have some buffer time.
Okay. I mean, having had to go through COVID and not letting anyone in the building and not do anything is hard enough. And then to lose the artistic director kind of when you're about to ramp back up, I'm sure is also hard. So just curious how it's going as far as whether it's fundraising or gearing up with a transition going on. And like Howard said, we're here to help. We appreciate the theater. And so, I'd love to hear sort of just how it's going.
Yeah, I mean, it's going. It's not, it's a little bit challenging because at least for me, and I think maybe Sarah feels the same, we haven't done the same work for the last 19 months. So even going back to, okay, how do we do opening night again? How do we do these things? We were, and I'm sure that's many organizations are sort of, feeling a little rusty. And I think we are as well. Having back-to-back significant transitions for the organization has been hard. One being not being able to produce work in person, and then having a founder leadership change has been a lot. I think we have a lot of really loyal supporters who believe in our work and we're ready to subscribe immediately. And same thing with sponsors and donors and people who have been giving for a very long time. We also have people who are not ready, either not ready to come back to the space, they're not comfortable maybe being in an indoor place. And there are some people who have just made changes and I think are maybe a little bit wait and see. They want to see what the organization is going to do over this next year. We're doing a lot of new work. We're giving a lot of playwrights opportunities this year that are brand new shows. Because of that, they're not titles that necessarily people are as familiar with. So they have to kind of hear maybe what their friends think of it before they buy tickets. So again, we have a pretty long road, I think, ahead of us. The government support has helped us kind of hold it together while we create and produce work. But I think many of us, and the board included, has talked about how next year is also going to be a challenging year because we won't have that support. And we have lost some people for a variety of reasons. And so we also haven't been able to introduce ourselves to people for 2 years. A lot of times single ticket buyers will get to know us through a show that they loved or an event that a friend brought them to. And we haven't been able to do that to even kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of add to our community. The new people haven't been able to really come in. And even though we did do virtual shows, we didn't often show, if they were in other countries or other states, might not be coming back to purchase tickets in Glencoe. They were experiencing that virtually. So we're doing okay, but we definitely have a long road ahead of us. So
I can imagine. Well,
I'm curious, it just, when you're really back, really back, as you will be shortly, thank goodness, to live performances, do you intend to keep the digital performance viewing capability as part of your, as part of it?
At this point, I don't think so. Kate, our executive director, sort of jokes that that's not necessarily our business model. We did it for the year that we needed to, but there are people who make far better TV and movies than we do, even though our Emmy nomination would maybe counter that. So I'm not sure, but I think most people really want to see it in person. Again, we have no idea what's going to happen. If for some reason we ended up having to close again and we needed to be a theater that just did virtual, we now know how to do it. So that's wonderful. And we've had amazing partners. HMS Media is a partner that we use for almost all of our digital work, and we would be able to pick that back up again. But I think people are craving in person, and I think that's where we want to put our energy and focus, at least for right now.
I will say we have learned from some of the programming that was unique to last year, mainly in the audio space. We did a series of green room interviews early on in the pandemic, and those were done via Zoom and then later lived on Vimeo and YouTube. And that's how a lot of audiences were able to engage with us from a distance. And we will be moving forward with that program in a different way. We will be integrating a live viewing portion of that. That's one of our donor events, is that donors will be invited to see the interview in person, but also be recorded and released later as a podcast. So I think that is a method of engaging with audiences in sort of another way other than just live theater performance that we wouldn't have maybe thought of if we hadn't had to create that program out of necessity.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Thank you, Sarah. I keep forgetting all the things we're doing, but that's true.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? I know you have probably lots and lots of people to meet with this evening.
You're not the last.
If you think of anything, you have our emails. Please feel free to reach out. If you're like, oh, I wish I had asked that, we'd be happy to answer anytime. So
Thank you for an excellent presentation
You're very welcome.
and for the work that you're doing for our little town.
absolutely. Thank you for all that you do to help us. We're really, really grateful.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right. Well, Sierra and Carly, thank you so much. I'm going to move you back down to attendees. And then we do have some folks from Glencoe Junior High Project here for our 720. So we're going to do a little shuffle real quick. So if I accidentally move the wrong person, I will get you. So one second.
Thank you.
Well, she keeps demoting me and claims it's an accident.
I played the fifth. I did accidentally at the last board meeting. I'm sure you noticed. I did move you by accident. It felt so bad. Okay, so, all right. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good, Jordan. How are you?
Good. Okay. We're moving some folks around, like I said. 1 second. Okay. Hi, Shelley. How are you?
I'm well.
Good to see you. Okay, and then Nancy, you should be able to, if you want, to share your screen and your audio. But whenever you folks are ready, why don't you introduce yourselves and welcome to start.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce us. We didn't bring materials to share on the screen. We were going to talk through more so focusing a little bit on, I know you know Glencoe Junior High Project very well. So we really wanted to focus a little bit more tonight on this past year with the pandemic and how we pivoted to continue to be able to implement programming for students in the audience that we serve, which is Glencoe middle school students in grades 5 through 8, regardless of where they go to school, so village residents. We wanted to talk about that, and then we wanted to talk about how we have hired a new senior program director, Michelle, who's with us tonight, who really was brought on board as part of a conscious decision and effort to grow and expand our programming, particularly our civic engagement, and how we're doing that, and how we've already been able to make some strides in doing that, and then answer any questions. So I'm going to just give a very brief overview because I know you've had a chance to review the materials, and I know you're very familiar with our programming and our performing arts, our civic engagement, our community events. But I think the key highlight this year is that last year, about a year and a half ago now, right, when our schools closed, all of our programming stopped because it all had been previously in person. And we started implementing some weekly Zoom social get-togethers where kids would play different games, Kahoot games, some online games. And we found that that was really popular. Kids wanted that. We kind of took us through the end of the school year. We were trying to figure out, what can we do? What can we still offer? And as we worked through the summer, at the very beginning of COVID, and the realization hit that we would not be going back to school the way that we all had traditionally gone to school, we found ourselves in a position where we really needed to change 100% of what we do, similar to probably everybody you're hearing from tonight, right? So we worked really hard over the summer last year to create 100% of new and different programs. We were not able to run any performing arts, but what we were able to do is take our Book Buddies program, which was one of our more popular programs, where the kids would meet together at the library, and kids in grades 5 through 8 would read with younger kids from grades K through 2. And we were able to put that into an online format. So one of the first things we did when we got back to school is we piloted that. And we thought initially, gosh, kids are so tired of Zoom. They might not want to do this. It was a Zoom event where the kids would be put into breakout rooms, and they read together in small groups on breakout rooms. And then we brought them back together into a big Zoom meeting. And we found that it was incredibly popular, and there was such a demand for it that we ended up running it the entire school year. So where we traditionally would have done a fall session and a spring session, we did a session every single month, and we just ran as many of those sessions as we possibly could. And we were so we needed help and support, and so we actually went and found some New Trier high school kids who were really good with technology and helped us facilitate those sessions. So it ended up working out really, really well. And bringing a new component to Book Buddies, which are now our high school facilitators. The other programs we implemented, we were able to implement all kinds of programs. We had virtual cooking classes. We had Zoom cookie decorating classes and art events where kids would sign up, and then we would deliver a little kit to their house, and they would get a little kit on their doorstep with all the materials that they needed. And then they would join the Zoom meeting, and they would do an art project together, or they would decorate cookies together. We did a number of we did some civic engagement through some thank you events. So we had kids create cards for the village. We had kids create cards and little videos for their teachers, and we put that together into a montage video, which we shared with the district. We were able to do a lot of different virtual programs. We did a great virtual program where the kids, we partnered with an animal sanctuary way out in northern Illinois, up by the Wisconsin border. And the woman who owns the sanctuary had a couple of cameras, and she walked through the sanctuary and introduced us to all the animals, and all of the kids asked questions. And what we found is that, there was more need than ever for our programs. We just needed opportunities to engage kids, to let them have a break, to connect them with each other, and to do some fun things during a really tough time. And we found that, the programs that we were able to run were very popular and very much in demand. And so we just tried to do as many as we possibly could. And we ended up, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of change and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. We did some virtual events. We had a scavenger hunt through town where we had over 100 kids participate, and they went on a scavenger hunt and found little clues that were hidden all through town. We did a Thanksgiving fun run where we raised money for the New Trier Food Pantry, and we had, I think, over 120 people register for that one. And it was a virtual, Jordan knows this, it was a virtual run. We had a map, and we ended up, because we couldn't do it all together, we gave everybody a t-shirt and a map. And then we said, okay, you do the run with your family on your own time over the Thanksgiving weekend, and then send us pictures. And we got a lot of really fun, cute pictures. So I guess our takeaway from the year was, it was completely different than anything we had experienced, but we really recognized the importance of our programs, and we knew that we had to find a way to change our format so that we could still deliver the programs that were really needed to the kids in our community. And we were able to do that. And so that really got us thinking about, as we came back, and we worked very closely with the district and with Dr. Wang. And so when we knew that we were going to be coming back and allowed to do some in-person programs, we recognized that we really needed to rethink the offerings that we had and expand upon a lot of the civic engagement and expand upon some of the services and programs that we provided. And so as an organization, we recognized that we also needed a program director who was more experienced. Traditionally, we've had very junior program directors with very little experience typically right out of college. And we recognized, especially last year, the need for a more experienced program director. So we actively searched and we found Michelle, who's an incredible fit. She has well over 25 years of experience teaching. She has a master's degree in education. She's done the not-for-profit. She's done the educational piece. She's an incredible fit for our organization. And so we brought Michelle on board to really help us identify more partners and to work more closely, build those relationships and work more closely with partners, and then expand our programming so that we can offer more civic engagement opportunities, more new, unique, different opportunities this year in whatever format works. And what we found is that we have been able to do the face-to-face small group events. We have not been running the virtual events this year. We've been doing the face-to-face events. And I'm going to let Michelle talk a little bit about some of the ways that we've expanded and grown our program and some of the things that we've done this year. But one example, going back to Book Buddies, we have continued the idea of our high school facilitators. So again, we came back to in-person, so the buddies meet at the library, and we've decided that because this is such an important program, again, rather than just offering a fall and a spring session, we're going to offer it fall, winter, spring. We're just going to make it more continuous, 2 days a week throughout the year. And we are able to do that because we've learned from our COVID experience that we have all of these fantastic high school students, most of whom are former participants of Book Buddies, Glencoe residents, who want to be facilitators to help lead and guide the program. And so that's one way we've pivoted again this year. And I'll let Michelle speak a little bit about some of the other partnerships and opportunities for expansion.
We've been doing a lot. I started, I think, about maybe 10 weeks ago. And maybe it's 12 weeks now, we've really worked hard to establish some great relationships in the community. So for example, we've been out to the Glencoe Community Garden twice and really made a dent in some of their harvesting. And we're going to be partnering with them and with the school district on supporting the pumpkin smash that's coming up. We've partnered with the Backyard Nature Center, which has been wonderful. And they've put me in contact with actually the University of Illinois Extension program. So we've taken over we've worked with Dr. Wang and really helped work on the garden with her aid with the organic gardener. And so we're continuing to do that. And we're expanding that actually with help from the Backyard Nature Center and the University of Illinois Extension. There's a native plant patch, if you're familiar with Central School, that's off to the side of the garden. We just did a food drive for the New Trier Food Pantry, and that was wonderful. We did that last weekend. Today we had 23 kids at school who were carving pumpkins after school, and they were carving pumpkins for our friends over at Over the Rainbow. So they're an organization that's based in Evanston that has residence facilities. I think there's 13 of them, and they specialize in helping adults with disabilities lead independent lives. So we've partnered with them, assisted them in their bike ride, cheered them on as they came into Glencoe for the North Shore Century Ride. So that's how we originally partnered with them. And now we're doing something, we're exchanging pumpkins. They're going to bring theirs over on Friday and collect ours. And we're just going to develop that into a bit of a partnership and see where it goes. So have some sort of buddies between the residents in their facilities and the kids at school. What else have we done? We have worked also partnering a lot with the district, which is really nice to support them in helping support their involvement in service projects. So for example, there's a Secret Snowman project where they've partnered before with a school in the city. And this year we said we would help them out. We were really enthusiastic to do this. And Dr. Wing was really open. And this year we just opened it up 2 weeks ago, and we have 350 families that are sponsoring students over at Chavez. So that's really interesting. And that's just where we sort of worked with the PTO, got a letter out to the room parents, and that from that point on, we're sort of being the intermediary where we're getting the letters from Dr. Wang, we're distributing them into advisories, then we're going to have we're going to collect them, then we're going to have wrapping parties for the kids that want to wrap their presents, and we're going to have card writing. So I sort of see our role as actually really trying to partner up as well with other service agencies in Glencoe, and also work closely with the school district and support them in their needs and help them really increase their ability to provide service projects and support them for their students. So, and that's been going great.
And one thing I want to add, we have a student advisory board where we've typically had about 7 to 10 kids participate. And this year, right out of the gates, we have doubled the size. It's probably maybe even closer to 2.5 times the size. And I think that's probably a good theme for everything that we're doing. We're looking at, again, creating more partnerships and offering more opportunities, as well as not just after school opportunities, but our student advisory board meets in the morning. And then Michelle has been working with the sports teams and the clubs to bring some of those kids in, whether it be at lunchtime during the school day or after the school day, to participate. So we're trying to reach kids at different and unique times based on their schedules, with more opportunities, so that we can, again, hopefully reach more kids, which we certainly are doing so far.
And really get them in the spirit of these service projects. So for example, it was the volleyball team's last practice, and I just reached out to some of the coaches, and we ended up making lunches for Connections for the Homeless. So we made 100 lunches in 45 minutes with 27 volleyball players, which was fantastic. So I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. But I love the fact that these projects are hands-on, and that it's not just a drive, or it's not just asking for donations or whatever. It's actually sorting for donations, or making the sandwiches, or just real direct involvement, writing the letters. So and we want to keep continuing that, as long also with doing really great service and also social projects. So today we started our Scavenger Hunt, and if you're walking around town and you see the clues in the window, we have 23 clues around town. And it's a great way to get kids running around town, just sort of engaged with the community, seeing what's new, what's out there. And so that just started today. And we're going to have our fun run again. And we are partnering with the Park District to have a movie night at Central School on the lawn. So many great things coming up. Yeah.
And we want to leave a couple minutes for questions, but I also want to address one change. We are asking for more funding than what we typically have in the past. And we did try to articulate the rationale for that is, we do have our operating expenses are higher, and our salary was adjusted to accommodate a more senior program director. So our salary is close to double than what our previous salary was. Nancy can speak to the specifics on that. And then additionally, with all of the programming, we don't charge a fee for students to participate in the civic engagement. So things like sandwich making, we buy all the supplies for that, or things like the SNAP dinner over at GYS, we buy all of the supplies to make the meal. But for sandwich making, for example, we're not charging kids to participate. So we have higher expenses this year as a result. In last year, I think we would do typically one of those events per quarter, or not last year, but in prior years, we would try to do a handful of those events per quarter. And this year we're doing multiple per month. So what questions can we answer from you?
So, well, I can just talk. I don't have a question, but all of my kids have done something through junior high projects. So I'm a fan, and you know, it's been part of our family. So
Thank you. Great. Were there
I think
any?
in the dim, I should say, I think in the dim past, because I'm pretty old, my wife was co-president of the, junior high project. So
Fantastic.
you don't have to twist any arms here.
You all know the organization very well.
Well, not that it matters, it's coming from me. So I'm Nancy, I'm the treasurer, also their local CPA that keeps everybody fiduciary like responsible and everything from that perspective. But I actually have a 6-year-old son. And because I sit on the board and, the wonderful board members have let me know the community and let me know the district because I'm not from here or anything from that perspective, but I also drag him along to all the events. And so he's been through a handful of events at 4 or 5, and this year at 6 years old, and he thoroughly enjoys it. And with the book buddies and stuff, like, whatever he can kind of come and tag along with now that he's getting more age appropriate, he does participate in. So it's been a fantastic thing. I mean, I know I'm not in that middle school era yet, and I'm going to try to hold off as long as I can. But with that said, it has been nice to acclimate to the community, and they have reached out beyond within to the community, and I'm very proud to be part of this organization.
And we're incredibly thankful for the village's support and just the organizations in Glencoe. We have a very unique community, and the ability to partner with these organizations and to do new and unique and different things is really an honor. And to be able to be supported by the village, but also partner with the village we're very fortunate.
Well, we're very fortunate to have an organization like this that just keeps getting better and better only because of people like you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, Shelley, Michelle, and Nancy, thank you. And if there aren't any more questions, we're going to switch to our next applicant. So I'm going to do a little switcheroo. And trustees and President Rowan, we are still waiting for GYS. So if you want to take a quick break, because you went back to back with the last two, we have a little bit of time for that. So, but thank you, you three. It's nice to see you all. And Michelle, we had some folks right before this meeting. There was a mother and son running up to see the clue, ran away from Village Hall, and I'm like, were they here for the meeting? I'm like, oh, that's what they're there for. So it was nice to see them as well. So thank you all.
Michelle, Shelley, Nancy, thank you for excellent presentation and for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you.
yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so let's just and William, I see you're here. We're just taking a quick break, and then I'll promote you to panelist when everybody comes back.
We have 3 minutes.
We can do 3, yeah.
Okay. I'm back.
Welcome back. Well, welcome back to everybody else too. William, just give me 1 second. You should be able to share your screen and your sound. 1 second. Or share your video rather. If you are having troubles with your sound and your video, I don't know if you're just getting them started. If you are having problems, can you raise your, there should be a little raise the hand button at the bottom. That way, I can tell if we just need to be patient or if we're having some technical issues. Oh, good. Wonderful, I can see you. No, I can, well, we can see you, but we can't hear you.
No.
Yes, William, great to see you. Great to see you. It's been a while. Do you want to introduce yourselves to our village president and our trustees, and then you can start?
Yeah. First, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good evening. It's been a long Monday. Good evening, guys. I am William Bernard. I'm the executive director of Glencoe Youth Services. This is going into my 3rd year as executive director. I took over August of 2019. So time is moving. I would like to think that we have done some good work in Glencoe. And yeah, I'll just jump right into it. So first, on behalf of my board and all the supporters of GYS, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to hear a presentation, to read our grants, to offer your support. It's always appreciated. Thank you, Jordan. You've been like a guardian angel for me my time at Glencoe, so I appreciate that. Always so helpful for me. So where we are now with Glencoe Youth Services, I feel we've built a pretty consistent programming tool for the kids since I've taken over in 2019. We've been really consistent in our work. I think now we're at the point where we have to take it to the next level and kind of push the needle a little bit to do more, to try to create more opportunities for our youth, to try to create more resources for our youth to benefit from and utilize and serve the communities and other communities. So now, when I first took over, we established a youth mental health campaign. And we've been very vocal about our support of youth mental health and doing activities that benefits youth mental health. But this year, we was able to partner with the Rotary Club on a project for youth mental health, where we actually partnered. Well, the Rotary Club sponsored the workshop, but we actually partnered with a city organization where we had youth from both organizations participating in this workshop and communicating through art and through expressing themselves. And I thought it was truly groundbreaking, because you take two sets of youth from different backgrounds, different race, different walks of life, different everything, but they was able to come together and communicate and relate to each other and laugh. And some even cried over this particular workshop. And that's something that we've been really pushing. The workshop is titled Walk in My Shoes. It's a mental health workshop where basically students just express themselves through art on the shoot. We treat the shoot like a canvas. And that's something where we was actually offered a spot at the Paws of Patrick mental health event in Lake Forest back in September. An incredible event that serviced mental health, youth mental health. And we made some pretty strong connections there where we feel going into the new year, top of the year, we'll be partnering with Simply Be Counseling. They are an organization that offers counseling to students on the North Shore, and we're going to be partnering with them with the workshop to bring the workshop to collaborate again with 2 different communities. We've tried to build this thing where we really want to build bridges into different communities. We really want to put and collaborate and work with different organizations all over the city of Chicago and Chicagoland area to really kind of just be more confident about GYS and the work that we're doing. Spread the word of all our service projects. Just this past Saturday, we met at the center, at the GYS Center, where we packed our Lunches of Hope. That is our monthly homeless initiative. To date, we have donated 920 bag lunches to youth homeless shelters and shelters in the Chicagoland area. We also packed care packages, and our care packages initiative is something we started last year to really help homeless youth. We partner with One Heart, One Soul Foundation. It's a foundation that's geared towards serving the homeless youth of Chicago through the arts. And they do a lot of art projects and different self-expression pieces that we've partnered with them on. But this organization, we provide these care packages, which is as personal hygiene products. And to date, we've donated 822 of those care packages. We packed those on Sunday as well. On Saturday as well. And so we're really confident, and we're really focused on getting our service work just out more to have more people participate. We never seek donations when we are asking people to come volunteer. That's something that we really take pride in, just wanting people to come to just serve, to help somebody else in need, to really be a friend for a day. And that's something where we really hang our hat on, that we're able to just invite people to really discuss our community service work. But also, more importantly than that, I think it's done more for our youth in the community here in Glencoe. Our numbers have been consistent with averaging double-digit participants every month for these workshops, mental health and different things of that nature. And I think they understand, because from experience, I get to tell them that I grew up on the west side of Chicago, so my experience is a little different from theirs. I was one of the families that benefited from stuff like that growing up. So they really get to hear firsthand interactions and really get firsthand experiences from me, and they really understand the work that they're doing is beneficial, and that they are helping somebody in need, and they're doing something that's really positive. And our youth mental health, that's our focus. That's what we really want to hang our head on, and how we can be more involved, and how we can express ourselves more through youth mental health. But we are launching a GYS cartoon series that will be ran monthly. It will talk about youth mental health topics, but it's our take on Saturday morning cartoons. Topics that are not so funny, but we're going to put our GYS spin on, and we're going to really try to get the community involved to see that, hey, I know mental health is still a very tough subject to discuss, and things are very real, things are happening tragedies are happening, and sometimes it's really tough to talk about a mental health conversation, but we're trying different things to really get our youth to express themselves so they feel comfortable and that they're in the best position going forward. You know, it's a lot of different things weighing on them, school and different activities and different programs that they're involved in. So our job is to create that safe space and to really create an environment where they feel comfortable and they can participate and they can really give great effort when we're going through these workshops and different things of that nature. Can I keep going? I don't know if I wanna.
I think you're
So-
good.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes.
Oh yeah, okay. So and also when I believe we're at a point now with GYS, we're able to I think I'm able to push myself and just be more vocal, be more of a presence in the community. Recently, I've met with Dipti. She's the president of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And we've talked about different things and how we can just support each other. I just believe in collaboration. I know that you guys were just meeting with GGHP, and they're also hosting the Lunches of Hope with us in November. On November 13th, Saturday at 10 a.m. If you guys are free, we would love to have you come by the center and help us make lunches. But they'll be hosting Lunches of Hope with us. And I believe in really collaborating so we can show the community and show kids that resources are to be shared. And it's a wealth of resources, and you should be comfortable with utilizing every program and every organization, and you should feel good about it because these are at your service. So a meeting with Dipti, I had a chance to attend the meeting. I believe that was back in September or early October. But Dr. Barb Javor, she actually read a statement of mine there, and the church, North Shore United Methodist Church, has been great supporters of GYS and everything we have done. We partnered in August to on Backpack Blessing Sunday, where we collected backpacks and we donated them to an elementary school we'd help raise funds for back in June on the south side of Chicago in the Inglewood community. So Dr. Barr and Pastor Scott have been great supporters of us and GYS and everything we're doing, and continuously being open to hearing my kind of crazy and unorthodox ideas, but they really support the organization and the mission that we're trying to establish for our youth. And going back to speaking with Dipti, I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited about that, because when I took over this position, I had some fear growing up in a different community, coming to and working in a predominantly all-white community. I had my own fears, and just speaking with Dipti and telling her my experience has been incredible. The community has treated me like family. I've been welcomed into businesses and collaboration with businesses and different people in the community, and people are finally, they stopped kind of asking that question, oh, GYS is that little weird building next to the tennis courts, you know, and now they're walking up to me or they're sending me emails congratulating us on all the service we're doing, or saying, hey, I read about you in this article, and you know, just really understanding the work that we're trying to do and how we're trying to do more and be more for the community. So I'm very excited to how GYS and the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee can try to work together down in the future. I know we've had different talks and things, and I'm always excited to work and collaborate. So I think now where we're at as an organization as a whole, I think we're very confident and comfortable in our work. And now we're just trying to really take it to the next level. We have a consistent attendance of youth. We're averaging 14 kids a day. And we have the numbers, we have the kids, and we have the ear. And I think more than ever, they know that GYS is a place for them. That's their place, that they can come out and hang out and do their homework and watch TV or watch Netflix or whatever game they're playing. Recently, we just got an air hockey table donated to us. So we've had an air hockey tournament. They really get behind this stuff because, you know, they feel that this space is theirs and everything that go on, they have a say in. They really have input in what happens at GYS. And I tell them all the time, I want you guys to feel like this is your home, like you're able to ask questions and help make decisions. Because without our youth, you know, we can have all the best ideas in the world and all the sponsors, but without our youth, you know, it really means nothing. So I'm just excited to continue to work and hopefully continue to spread GYS word and the mission.
Thank you for the presentation. I was going to ask, but you answered it. I was going to ask how many kids come by your drop-in center, and you says it's around 14 a day. Is that, do you know, I have two questions about that. One is, do you know how many different children use the facility over the course of a month, a year, whatever? And then the second is, how does your usage compare last year to prior years?
Well, of course, last year, for the most part, we was all virtual. We did good virtually when the pandemic first started. We had a very strong virtual presence with our youth in attendance, but towards the middle and the end, I think they just got tired of sitting in front of a screen. And so we really dropped off towards the summer. But luckily, we was able to come back in the summer during the pandemic. So even then, we were still averaging maybe about 6 or 7 kids a day. But we was open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. During 2020. We opened July 15th, 2020, and we stayed open throughout the duration, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we only met from 12 to 2, but we was doing different art projects, different things. We was outside always, social distance with the mask. So I think we fared well. Currently now, I think we have a regular of set kids that maybe come by, which is probably around 9 or 10. I would say we have a regular set that I expect to see every single day, right? I think we do have those kids that maybe have heard about GYS or friends come by GYS, so they may come a couple times a week. But I think now over the last, maybe over the last month and a half, we started to see more and more new faces. Interestingly enough, for the last 2 years, the center attendance have been dominated by young females. This year, it's dominated by males. And we have so many new faces in our males, but I think now it's just honestly more kids are just understanding what that little building is, and people are coming by and people are more aware of the space.
All right, well, thank you. Are there other questions? Jordan, where are we in time?
So we can do a couple more minutes for questions. Certainly,
Okay.
I don't want to, if the trustees have questions, I don't want to cut those off.
Okay. I asked mine. Gary, Jonathan, you guys have questions or?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say it's good to see you again. And it's good to see that you are as enthusiastic as ever. And for an organization such as the one you lead, that's of course a necessity and a blessing. And thank you for all that you do for our community and our kids. And so many others around the city.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either, but I mean, you're an important part of the community and an important part of, you know, my kids are of the age where some of their friends are going into GYS, and you know, I've been outside in that little batting cage and watched kids come and go. And so it's great. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the submission and the presentation and the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, William, it's so great to see you. I hope you have a good rest of your night. And then Terry, I'm going to promote you to panelist, so you should be able to speak and share your video. Give me 1 second. I am trying to. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
There we go.
Hi, Terry. We can see and hear you. Nice to see you. If you wanted to introduce yourself, or are we waiting for, is Liz joining, or is it just?
No, it's just me tonight. Thank you.
All right. Well, you are certainly welcome to start.
Thank you so much for having me this evening. And I joined about a person and a half ago just to see what was going on. I didn't know if I was allowed to watch. So this is something new for me, and it's nice to see all of your faces. And I'm just talking about the chamber. We did merge the Winnetka Northfield Chamber with the Glencoe Chamber on July 1st of 2021. And it's been a really great thing that's been happening. A lot of energy is being noticed with the businesses. I happen to live on Scott and Vernon, so I've been shopping the Glencoe businesses for 32 years. And I am, along with my two people that my staff members are always in, they happen to live in Hubbard Woods too, in my neighborhood. So they're always in Glencoe in the businesses too. And now they're going in and introducing themselves and talking to them. And one of my staff members today, Therese Weaver, is our membership director. And she was with Ulski Jewelers because she was talking to them last week, and they have joined the chamber. And she asked them about a website, and they do not have a website. So we found them a web person that went in there today and is putting together a website for them. So when we're working with our members, we listen to them, we talk to them and ask them what they need, and we try to provide those services. We are a hands-on chamber, and we are, it's just 3 of us that are in the office. We have one off-site person who does our social media and e-newsletters that go out weekly to all of the members about the information that's going on with the chamber and within the communities. And we are looking for more help. And so that's why I came to you for a grant, is to ask for the assistance to bring us together so that we can become a stronger unit and be able to provide more goods and services. As our mission statement is all about supporting and encouraging the development and success of local businesses for the benefit of our vibrant communities. And our vision statement is thriving businesses, vibrant communities. And what we have offered at this point to the Glencoe Chamber is we have begun ribbon cuttings for the new businesses that are coming in. And that has been very well received by the new businesses. They feel welcomed, and we do a Facebook, Instagram live presentation where I present to the community about, and it's all of our communities, Winnetka, Northfield, and Glencoe. So it's a bigger, broader amount of people that are seeing this and experiencing all the businesses from our 3 communities. And I sort of do a commercial for the business and talk about what they're doing and their location And then I turn it over to the business owner, who then also introduces themselves and their staff. And that has been really remarkably well received. We are doing one next week on November 4th at Hudson and Grace. And they're going to be doing a book signing, and their people are coming in from California. So that should be a wonderful event, and hopefully you can join us. It's at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We are now doing something that is in the 42nd year of, it's called the Red Invitation. This is something that Tom Fritz began. Do you know TL Fritz Sporting Goods in Winnetka? Years ago, Tom was a business owner in Winnetka for over 35 years. And he started this program where he did this on red construction paper. They listed all the businesses. It was in the West Elm Business District with the promotions, and they had a Sunday sale. It was the first Sunday in December. And the stores in Winnetka never opened on Sundays. They still rarely do. And that was a way to keep people from going to the malls and shopping locally with some fun sales or products or services that the businesses were offering. This has grown to be a huge event. We send this invitation that has a list of all of the, I don't know if you can see that, of all of the businesses and where they're located with their information of what they're offering on that particular day, along with a map of all the businesses. We mail it out to 28,000 people in Winnetka, Northfield, Glencoe, Ravinia, and in all of Wilmette. And this has been going to the Glencoe residents for 42 years. Now the Glencoe businesses are able to participate in this event. When we merged with Northfield 11 years ago, they were very hesitant to begin to do this because it does cost them money, because we don't make a dime on this. In fact, we lose money. The chamber loses, and that's why I'm also going to you for a grant. The businesses have to pay $325 to participate. That's a lot of money. And they hesitate for that. What I'd like to do is be able to do this where it isn't costing them that much money. If it was $100, everyone would jump in. And so it becomes a more interesting sale when we're talking to new businesses. But at this point, Valentina is from Glencoe is in the Red Invitation. Mighty Print is in the Red Invitation. Wild Child, Writers Theater, and Black Sheep. So those are the 5 that are in right now. We're still having conversations. Many of them have said they want to join in, but those are the ones that we have the paperwork and the payments from. It has been a huge success for all the businesses. Our retail tell us that the most important events for them are Sidewalk Sale and the Red Invitation. And those are the 2 things that make them make their year. So hopefully this will go really well in Glencoe. We're looking forward to that. This Friday, we're doing a long-standing tradition in Glencoe. It's Hello Halloween, or Halloween Hello. And it's where the families go into the businesses from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. and trick or treat throughout the business community. And it's a really fun tradition that has been going on in Glencoe for a while. The little ones are earlier in the day, obviously, and then as the older kids, the middle school kids get out of school and grade school kids get out of school, then they come in and do the rounds themselves. We are trying to keep the same traditions going that you are experiencing with the chamber in the past, but we plan on expanding what is being offered to the member businesses. And with that, merging us together represents a one-of-a-kind opportunity to strengthen our future, ensuring that we are well-positioned to serve the communities we represent for years to come. Winnetka, Northfield, and Glencoe villages are 3 connected neighborhoods which share many similar interests. Our chambers share a border and have collaborated on many programs, and our businesses attract customers from the North Shore and beyond. We want to make this a holiday destination area. The North Shore has beautiful, unique shops. And if we can, and the decorations in Glencoe during the holidays are spectacular. And if we can just keep bringing people outside of our own community into our business districts, they will come back all year round. And that is what our goal is to continue to do. You have a very strong community and it's very tight, and people do support your businesses in Glencoe. And we want it to be beyond the residents that live here, because the businesses really need that. Because rents are high, taxes are high, expenses are high when you have a business in the North Shore. So we're quite aware of that. So any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. And I just want to say, you're a new thing for us. We're excited and hopeful about this 3-village chamber. It's new, so nobody knows for sure how it's going to work out, but we're glad you're there, and we're going to try to do our part.
So I want to let you know, I forgot about mentioning this. This is going on across the whole, well, I can speak for the state of Illinois, but I know it's going beyond our borders, that more chambers are merging together because it offers them strength in numbers. And when you have strength in numbers of everything that we're working on, it makes all of our networking become more beneficial to the businesses that are attending. They're more interested in attending the events that we have. They're more interested in participating in what is being offered because they are getting something more out of it. And when you have a smaller pool to pull from, it's not as effective. So that's why we're trying to bring this together, because not only do you have retail businesses, you have service industries, and those people need something different than the retailers, and they need the networking opportunities that we are able to provide. And so that's what we are constantly coming up with new ideas and doing things, and we put out surveys and we find out that we need to do it all because it meets different needs for everyone. And so that's what we're good at. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a lot to offer our business communities, and we're going to just make us all much stronger.
Okay. Gary, Jonathan, you guys have questions?
I do not, but it is very nice to see a highly revitalized chamber working here in town. Thank you.
And you needed full time. You needed somebody. I just want to let you know, I mostly work 7 days a week. Every time I'm out, I'm working it, and I'm talking to the businesses, and I shop. I shop the community, and I'm always asking them what's going on, how's business, what can I do, what do you need? And it's my passion. I used to own retail. I owned retail for 12 years in Lincoln Park, and I had 2 shops. And so I know what they're going through, and I know when there's off times and when there's good times, and they all go through it, and we have to get them through it. And I'm here to, and along with my staff, which are amazing women, they just communicate and try to help out as much as we can do for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, the flower shop is going to be putting flowers in front of our office. We're doing a whole arrangement.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either, but it's good to see, like Gary said, a revitalized chamber.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
please let me know if you see anything that you would like to see happening in the community. And I'm looking forward to the holidays. I'm looking forward to the tree lighting and experiencing the Glencoe way of doing light up the lights. I love that name too. That is my favorite name. I have looked at all sorts of different titles of tree lighting in the, I've Googled it and this is my favorite one.
That's what we like to hear. Well, Terry, unless there are any other questions from our trustees and President Rowan, it's been wonderful to see you. And then thank you for your time this evening.
And thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, well, we are, President Rowan, those were all of the presentations that we have on our agenda this evening. So
Okay.
certainly up to you if you want to jump right into to item 5 or take a break.
What's your pleasure? I could jump or we could take a few minutes. Guys, what do you think?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. I guess we should, there's an excellent chart. Jordan, you may have created this chart on page 4. We could just sort of walk through the chart. Well, before we walk through the chart, back in the, yesteryear, when I was on the board, there was, some discussion about whether this kind of thing is appropriate for a local government. I thought it was then. I think it is now. And based on looking at the chart and what we've been doing, I assume you and the rest of the board agrees with that. But now's an opportunity for somebody to say, oh no, it's an outrage. Does anyone want to say that, or should we move on to?
No.
Good. And I haven't talked to everybody about this, but I assume that there isn't anybody on the board that thinks it's an outrage.
These are all extensions of, effectively extensions of what we're doing. So
yeah, this is, like I said, I've heard the other theory. I remember it. I just didn't agree with it. And these are all, each one of these, with the exception of Writers Theater, is, kind of a government function. And from my point of view, Writers Theater is maybe the most important thing that's happened to Glencoe government in 50 years. So anyway, okay, so let's walk. And I said, anyone has different idea, we could just walk through.
I would
the chart.
I was just going to say, I think there are probably a few we can just, stand right away and then have conversations about those that need conversations.
So,
and I don't mean to drag any of it out because, but I did want to at least put a little context or discuss putting a little context to it. I know that last year, for example, when we were all very concerned about what was going to happen to us financially, Jonathan, we perhaps, dropped our numbers or dropped what we might have otherwise done, but tried to help organizations. We still had a net increase for what we had approved over 2020, but I know that we were concerned about what the finances of the village might look like. And we're in a better place now. So that said, it doesn't, that doesn't provide us an answer, but I think it provides us a backdrop for being able to look at the requests and evaluate them and the total, just by way of background.
Yeah. If you look at the chart, the Chamber of Commerce is looking for an increase from what we had done. And it's an increase for what they had previously asked for. Family Services is the same. It's large, but it's the same. Historical Society is the same. The Junior High Project is looking for an increase. which is either modest 5,000 or 50%, which, you know, isn't modest, but it's youth services is looking for the same, and Writers Theater is looking for an increase. I don't think I don't need to talk about anything that isn't looking for an increase, because I'm in, you know, this is I think this is appropriate.
I with the caveat that I actually, in my own mind, we had previously approved in 2020 a little bit more than they asked for because of the nature of the work and how they managed to do it on a fairly shoestring budget. And honestly, I would do it again. That's my only point in terms of perhaps somebody, you know, asked for 13, an odd number, but I think that's because that's what we gave them last year.
Right.
I would just round that up to 15 personally in terms of my recommendation.
Okay. Look, that's, I mean, 13 is kind of pinpointed, and I'm happy to put it up to, I mean, yes, this the drop-in place is, you know, it's clearly important to some level of kids in Glencoe. It's this thing that needs to be there. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad he's there. Okay. So Writers Theater, they've asked for a $5,000 increase. I think she explained why, which is it's, you know, it's still a little shaky. People had to think. I'm going to hit my lovely wife just went to the ballet. That was the first thing like that she'd been to since February of 2020. People are going to have to think about this, and I'm sure there are people still thinking about it. I'm happy to meet the demand for Writers Theater. I get it. And, you know, maybe if they're going gangbusters, we'll go back to, you know, who knows, but I think we should meet their demand here. It seems like a year when they would need it.
Yeah, I think when we gave them less than they requested, we sort of looked at it as we give them a lot in non-monetary benefits. But then also that when we were looking through the list of other recipients in a year where we were pretty worried about our own financial state, writers felt like it'd be one of the ones that could weather this a little bit better. Now that we're on the other side, I think they have legitimate concerns. I'm happy to bump that back up. Okay. And hopefully they get, you know, they find a new artistic director and fundraising goes back to normal. So yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. I think that their very not just willingness but enthusiastic participation with the village whenever asked, is certainly worthy of being rewarded. And I agree with you in terms of the potential economic driver for the village that they are.
Okay, so we have two left. Junior high project. They're looking for a big increase, although, you know, we're not going to notice at the end of the day. I'm a big believer in what they do. They've been there forever. I'm not positive they actually explained why they need the increase. But I'm inclined to give them a shot based on, you know, what they've done for us for all these years. So yes, it's an increase. In the years past, we've always given them what they were looking for, and I would be inclined to do that again.
I agree.
Yeah, again, an organization like that does so much with so little through their volunteer work, I'm completely in agreement. I think they'll make good use of the resources.
Yeah, and you know, I hope they don't think, oh, next year they should ask for 50. But
there's a limit.
There, okay, so that leaves us the last one. I also think we should give them what they've asked for. This is the Chamber of Commerce. It's a new thing. We'll find out whether it's right or wrong, but we should do our part in the hope that it's right. And I would note that our business district is revitalized and we want to keep it going.
Do we have any sense of the level of direct monetary sponsorship of the other villages?
That Trustee Trustee Rubin, that was a question that President Rowan
Jonathan, you just got dissed.
I'm sorry, folks, it's 8:30. That's something that I've been trying to poke around. You'll note that in the Chamber's most recent Form 990, there wasn't a mention of that or in their budget. And I was not able to find anything out. So unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. And I can, if you would like, I should have been able to do that today. And my apologies, call our colleagues in those other communities. I didn't occur to me to think of that. So that's a fair question. I have heard loosely that it's a higher amount, but I don't know if that's true or not. I don't want to lead you astray from that.
Jordan, why don't we just, we didn't do it in the public meeting, we didn't have to, but why don't we, because you and I talked about this earlier today, why don't you call up the executive director and ask her, okay, there are 3 towns, what do you ask for, what are you getting? Obviously, it would be embarrassing if Winnetka was asked for $500 and Northfield was asked for 100. So we should try to find out, but assuming that the ask is commensurate with the towns, like I said, is a new thing. I think we should be in on supporting this new thing in the hope that it works. I mean, what happened last year was probably some combination of, were there going to be any stores for the whole year? And
it wasn't that.
Without going into detail.
This has been 6 years of listening to the chamber give worse and worse presentations.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing
was
a view about.
I don't want to give a dime to for 6 years.
Right.
So now, yes, it's a new thing, a new day.
So I'd like to hear what the other communities are giving. I was encouraged by what she had to say for the first time ever. I mean, this was a useless organization for Giving Town, almost. Maybe they did a little something, but it sure seemed like Jordan had to work a lot harder doing things that the chamber was supposed to be doing.
I will say, if I may, from a staff perspective, the past 3 months, to use the word rejuvenating, has been very accurate. Terry and her team are competent, energetic, very energetic individuals. And when she said Olsky Jewelers, they were the most, and this is no disrespect to them, but they were very fiercely anti-chamber for a lot of reasons. So to me, that alone is a huge accomplishment. Ribbon cuttings, I've been to 2 or 3 of them in their videos, not of my own volition, but they're out there. But they do that. It's such an exciting feel about it, and that's something that is certainly new. Trustees Rubin and Vree, that I can speak to from a staff level, that I'm not over dramatizing. It's fantastic, and I look forward to it. Terry also did not mention some of the many more events that they have planned. They're just due to this year alone, because we were not able to. They just didn't have capacity for Light the Lights with their Red Invitation event. They're going to still be present and learn and absorb, and they want to help and have an active role in the village's subsequent Light the Lights events. I'm very impressed.
Good. Well, and again, I'm no objection, but for making sure that we do a little due diligence in terms of the participation level of the other communities.
Because I'm in favor of bumping up from 3,000. with our experience, it is a new organization, so but it's a pretty negative experience up to this point. And so I guess I was not particularly ready to give 10,000 to the group. Now I can be convinced. I'm just saying, because of what we've seen in the past, I was hesitant, but I did want to make an indication of, we are more encouraged by you. We want to give you more than we gave last year, and maybe bump it up again next year. But your feedback, Jordan's important and good to hear.
Understanding that that's a very valid point. And if you wanted, certainly, President Rowan, I will reach out to Terry, the executive director. Is there a threshold that if I were to find, again, that their ask for the village of Glencoe is commensurate with the other communities, that we would feel comfortable with? Is there a minimum or maximum, or just what direction would you folks feel comfortable with as we look to the larger budgeting process?
So I'll give you my view, and then everybody else can speak. So it seemed to me this is a new organization and a new day. So if the requests are commensurate with the other places, and I also want to get a history of what they've gotten, because it's a new organization for us, but it isn't for Winnetka and Northfield. It's their organization. I want us to be, if this is going to work, Glencoe has to be a full partner. So that was why I was going to I was inclined to take the chance, but I take the point, we don't want to be saps. And I get the point about, before, and I'm just saying, okay, new guys, we're going to give you a shot. We're in, show us. That was my theory, assuming we're not saps.
Yeah, Jordan, I don't know if you've gotten feedback from Northfield or Winnetka's people in your position, but their experience with the chamber.
I have not. I will say, with how busy this summer was internally, we were just trying to stay afloat. So certainly what I can do as part of a follow-up is to reach out. I know that the village of Winnetka has a dedicated economic development person, and the village of Northfield is also very small and mighty, so I'm not sure what my counterpart may be, but that's a great idea to see what their experience is from more of a holistic viewpoint.
Yeah, because I've just been skeptical going in, and you've warmed me to the idea of giving them more.
Yeah, Jonathan's right. If it had been the same
I was ready to
situation, shall we say, and not this new one, that number would simply be a goose egg.
And I've tried to think through, separating my, personal feelings aside, but there's some context. President Rowan, the previous chamber barely could update a website, and that's not a pointed comment to the staff that worked, well, the individual who was in that position, but it was a very outdated and ineffective model. So again, I'll be brief. We've been pleasantly surprised in the past 3 months. Again, I don't know how that's going to be long term, but it's been a complete 180.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear.
Great.
An effective, active chamber is terrific asset in the community.
By the way, I don't know if I can't, this runs together. And I don't remember whether Phil said this at one of our big meetings or whether he just said it to me, and maybe he said it to you individually, but I understand that we're thinking, the village is considering maybe getting someone equivalent to what Winnetka has, which is a business development guy, or gender aside, so that, because it's been pretty effective in Winnetka. they were having problems for a long time, and it looks like they may have turned it around some. And to a certain extent, they were eating our lunch. Witness Walgreens and the Mexican place.
I will say from a staff perspective, I know Phil's been looking at more of a 3 to 5 year plan. I don't think any of specific changes have been implemented yet. Of course, the board would need to authorize those positions. All I would say, and I'm not trying to be cagey, it's just I don't know, is look to the budget document for any of those changes.
I'm just saying this.
I think it's very true that that's something that Manager Crowley and I think our executive team has noticed, that economic development is huge and plays a vital role in our revenue standpoint. Sales tax revenue, places for eating tax, all that jazz. So I think that's probably in the 3 to 5 year future.
And the chamber could be, we hope, knock on wood, part of that. So, okay.
So can we leave that one open to some degree until you get a little feedback from the other ones?
We should leave it open, and this isn't going to get voted on until next month's meeting. And we have a finance meeting before then, which is mostly about the budget, but this could be a little piece of that if need be.
Yeah, we could put that on as an agenda item.
Certainly, and I can come back to you with that information you requested, and of course, if you think of anything else that would be useful, as you consider that decision, please let me know.
Okay.
So just to read, so we are 50 on family service. Where are we? 15 on GHS, 15 on junior high project. Are we doing 15 for youth services?
Yes.
Okay, and then 25 for writers.
And then 25 on Writers Theater.
And then open-ended on chamber.
And open, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. That's very helpful. Excluding the Chamber of Commerce open-ended amount, the Community Grants Committee's current recommendation for calendar year 2022 is $120,000. That would be well, because we're leaving one open, I don't want to speak to certain percentage increases, but so my marching orders are to provide you all with supplemental information on the WNG chamber and all the other alphabet soups, all of their names, and I have those totals down. So,
and just for what it's worth, it is, if we go up to 130, it's a decent sized jump from last year.
It is.
For what that's worth.
And 18, yeah,
but when you're breaking it up into little pieces, and we know where the individual little pieces are, I think they're good explanations and good reasons for doing it. Personally.
Okay, well, I am comfortable with the board's direction, and have my, like I said, the follow-up items. So with this, because it is a recommendation, in the past, we have not asked for a motion in a second. We can do so if you would like. Otherwise, I don't have anything else that is outstanding on my end for you all.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we need to have, we know where we are. Nobody's going anywhere. So I think, yeah, good. So the only thing left then is, have you gotten any communiques?
How could I forget? Give me one moment to refresh. I did not receive any public comment this evening.
Okay. And is there anything anybody else wants to talk about, or should we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
All right, President Rowan.
Yes.
Trustee Rubin.
Yes.
And Trustee Vree.
Yes.
We're adjourned. It is 8:44 p.m. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
thoughtful
And
discourse.
Thanks for
Jordan,
staying so late.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan.
thanks-
That's okay. I
thanks
will.
for-
I will say I changed into some comfortable shoes. So it's certainly not. I mean, I'm sitting in a chair,